Welcome to the Google Help YouTube channel. Whether you're new to Google or you're a seasoned user, we're here to make sure you get the most out of all the products and features available to you. From search to Gmail, maps to Google Play, we provide clear, helpful, and step-by-step support.
You can see here that we have those 3 documents online at drive.google.com and referenced on our PC in this Google Drive drive. So here are our files in Google Drive in both places, in the cloud and on our PC, possibly without their data yet having been downloaded. We want to change that. We'll right-click on the file, and unfortunately, we'll have to click on Show More Options because in Microsoft's wisdom, while they show us the OneDrive options that may or may not be available for this thing, we have to go deeper to see the Google Drive options. And in fact, we can change the offline access for this file. You'll notice that it currently says online only. That means when we open the file, the data for that file will be downloaded right then and there. If we want it to be available offline, we'll click on that. Now you'll notice that the cloud icon for this file has changed to a check mark. The file's data actually lives on our hard drive. Again, you use the file exactly the same way. The only difference is whether or not the data lives on your hard drive or whether it has to be downloaded from Google Drive at the time you use it. Okay, the thing that's a little bit weird about this, I suspect, is that it's actually set up a different drive, an actual drive letter for this. And if you go looking for your Google Drive files somewhere on your hard drive, they're kind of hard to find. They're buried somewhere down in app data, if I'm not mistaken, in some kind of a cache. However, and this is something that's not obvious from the setup process at all, you might be able to change that. I'm going to go ahead and close this, and we'll go ahead and minimize the browser for the moment. One of the things that got added as part of the setup is down here in the notification area, we have a Google Drive icon. If I click on it, I have the opportunity to view some settings. We're going to go ahead and open the options menu and click on preferences. Now, we do not need to take the tour. Again, this is the adding folders, the documents, desktop folders that I talked about earlier. We're not going to do this. We're going to keep this as simple as possible. However, clicking on Google Drive actually gives us something to think about. We have the option to stream files, which is the default. That's what sets up the G drive. And that's what basically defaults everything to being from the cloud. However, I prefer to do, if you have the disk space for it, is to mirror files. You can see here that streaming uses less hard drive space because, of course, all the files are kept online unless you need them or unless you specify that they should be kept on the machine. Mirror is what you probably more or less expect from Google Drive. So if I click on Mirror, now it's going to say, hey, rather than using the drive, G:, it's going to store these files in users, Ask Lee, which is my current username, my drive. We'll confirm the location. Now we'll hit save. Of course, Google Drive has to restart to make this significant of a change. You can see that the icon is gray while it does so, and then it comes back. All right, we'll click on it. We'll hit Preferences once again, and we are now looking at mirrored files. What does that mean? Well, if we fire up Windows File Explorer, we have my drive as a folder. In fact, if you take a look at the full path, it is exactly as promised. Users, Ask Lee, my drive. There's no question about whether it's in the cloud or not. Everything in this folder is mirrored, is synchronized exactly the way I described when we started. If you have enough disk space for the contents of your Google Drive, this is typically what I recommend, because this way you're sure that everything is on your PC and everything is in the cloud. Now you'll notice that there's still this other Google Drive G that's listed here. If I click on it, that says My Drive, and it still shows that stuff. This may or may not remain for you. Technically this is the drive, but you'll notice that if I do click on the drive, it goes back to the actual folder in my user account. If I go to this PC, you can see that, yeah, there's a Google Drive G. If I go there, that's exactly the same thing. What has happened is the G drive remains, but instead of being a completely separate drive, ultimately, my drive just points to the real drive in your user folder on your PC. Now, hopefully that's clear. Bottom line here is use mirroring and you'll have a complete copy of your entire Google Drive on your PC in a folder in your users folder as well as at drive.google.com. Now, let's talk about Google Docs, shall we? You'll notice that this is a PDF file. And in fact, since I currently don't show extensions, I'm going to go ahead and show that so that you can see what we're looking at here. A GDoc file is a Google Doc. But
gabapentin is bringing you closer to amputation. These are 3 symptoms that are signaling that you could be close to losing your foot.
Google Docs do not have an offline representation. In fact, you'll notice that the GDoc file is very small. It's 1 kilobyte compared to the 3 megabytes that the PDF is taking up. Now, the PDF, of course, is going to be larger than the original document, but nonetheless, that's quite the difference. It's not nearly enough to contain the entire document. That's because Google Docs kept in Google Drive are not actually kept in Google Drive. Google Docs and Google Sheets and Google Slides are all online only. Yes, there is something in Google Drive, but it's a shortcut. If I double click on Internet Safety v6 free.gdoc, what happens is it fires up my browser and opens up that file in docs.google.com online. That's the only place that document lives. There, like I said, there is no such thing as an offline representation for a Google Doc. There is only online. So that is one thing that can be fairly confusing. Even here, there's a shortcut that says Internet Safety v6 free. This is online. But even then, if I double click on it, it's again opening up docs.google.com to actually go to the file. So be aware that for all of the files you might throw into your Google Drive, the Google Docs files, the Google Sheets files, the Google Slides files, you'll only see a shortcut there. The actual file itself will continue to remain online and only online. Everything else, exactly as you expect. That's Google Drive. Now, since this has been a bit of a, I won't call it a bumpy road, but I realize that there's a lot of confusing concepts here. In addition to this video, I'm going to suggest that you have a look at the companion article, askleo.com/176266. It essentially is presenting the same information, but in written form, that may be easier to take your time over and understand. But at its most fundamental, Google Drive is really powerful. Google Drive includes 50